Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger, and up next is Ravens Reports, where we talk about the latest buzz coming out of the Baltimore Ravens camp. Do me a quick favor, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's go. So first up, we're going to talk about J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has been in the headlines for the last probably about 5 to 7 days. We know he came out with some tweets late last week about his future in Baltimore, and a little more conversation came out this week where Baltimore is wanting to extend him. Now, that was some commentary coming from Jeff Zebrick, who is pretty reliable, and it does not mean they're getting ready to extend him, but they would like to retain him, as I understand the information from reading the report. Personally, on that note, I think this is one of those contracts that they can wait to the end of the year, simply because running backs are going to be in great supply. Okay. Um, it's one of the easiest positions to replace. Um, we've seen numerous rookie running backs jump on the scene in their first year and ball out. We've seen some guys um, have a two-back system, and when the main guy goes down, the other guy steps up and fills in nicely. We've seen that with Samaje Perine in Cincinnati when Joe Mixon would be hurt. We've seen some of that when Mark Ingram went down or was hurt, for a couple of weeks or whatever, and J.K. Dobbins stepped on the scene and really kind of replaced Mark Ingram. We seen that when everybody was hurt in 2021. J.K. Gus and Justice Hill all went down, and we had some replacement parts with Freeman and what was it, Murray, Latavius Murray. We've seen running backs be able to jump right in and do a decent to good job. So we even seen that when the Carolina Panthers shipped Christian McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers, and what's their big back's name? Uh Deontay Foreman, that's his name. He jumped in and was dominant, ran downhill the rest of the season. So we've seen running backs, just kind of get replaced, and the replacement plays well. And so I think that for J.K. Dobbins, although all of our running backs will be free agents next year, I think they can just wait. Again, not because he's not valuable, but it's just one of those positions that you don't really have to invest a whole lot of money in anymore and get quality out of. And I think that due to J.K. Dobbins' injury history as of late, you can't really pay him too early, because we don't want a Ronnie Stanley situation where Ronnie Stanley gets paid and then gets hurt. And then you got to sit with that contract until that guy recovers. So we don't want that. JK has missed 26 of his last 34 possible games, which means he's only played 9 games in 2 seasons. That's a lot of games missed. He had a dominant rookie season. When I say dominant, I don't mean he just ran all over everybody, but he did have over 800 yards in rushing and 9 touchdowns in that 2020 season. And so he played really, really well. So we know what potential he has, but I think that the Ravens should just be patient, let the season play out. If he makes it through the season healthy, offer him a deal. Because he says he wants to stay in Baltimore, so he may give us a little hometown discount. So, you know, who knows? But that's my thoughts on JK. Next up, Zay Flowers has a little soft tissue injury, and we know how soft tissue injuries can be. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. The guy could be feeling better, get back on the field, and go back out. So we just don't know um, how long he'll be out. John Harbaugh did say he expects him at minicamp next week. Um, that's good to hear. That means the injury is not major, but I want him to just be patient. I want him to work on the sideline. I want him in maybe some one-on-one drills, not necessarily 11 on 11. I just don't want to run the risk. It's crazy how certain positions for the Ravens we tend to take on injuries at. Lamar Jackson's been hurt 2 years in a row. We've had several wide receivers go down 2 years in a row. And then cornerback has been one of those positions where we've had some injury. And so it just seems like those positions we kind of just have a tough time staying healthy at. I know, of course, left tackle, but left tackle was an isolated thing where it was Ronnie Stanley hurt repeatedly and basically missed the better part of 2 seasons. And so that's why I didn't include the left tackle. So I would just like to see Zay on the field a little bit, one-on-one drills, learning the playbook, being involved in installs. But I don't want to see him going full throttle because I just want him to get to training camp healthy. I just want him to get to the regular season healthy. Um, and so hopefully he can get everything together, get his body well again and be ready to go in about 45 to 50 days for training camp. Right. Um, Another piece of news coming out of practice today is Nelson Aguilar balling out. Nelson Aguilar has gotten a little to a lot of buzz um, over the last several weeks when OTAs. Even before OTAs started, John Harbaugh spoke about Nelson Aguilar being in the building, working out, working hard, learning the plays, things of that nature. And then coming out of training, not training camp, but OTAs a couple of different times, we've heard some buzz about Aguilar. And the way I read a report today, he kind of was showing out a little bit today. Matter of fact, you could say he was the best wide receiver on the field today. And so I'm glad to hear that from Aguilar. Aguilar is a talented guy. Aguilar came out in that draft, I believe, along with guys like Kelvin Benjamin. Um, he may have been in the draft with Odell Beckham. Now that Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, now that I think about it, he may not. I may have the wrong draft, so please forgive me. But I know he's been in the league for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Because he's 29 or 30 years old. But I'm glad to see he still got some speed. They talked the article I read talked about his wide catch radius, playmaking ability. So Aguilar sounds like he might be saying, y'all know what? Nobody expects anything out of me, but I'm gonna show y'all. So he may be competing for that third spot, man. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hear anybody that's balling out at the wide receiver position, even if it's not Odell, Bateman, or Zay. So cool. I'm glad to hear that about Aguilar. Another big news piece for me was to hear about Daniel Falele. So I've been a fan of this guy, you know, since pre-draft last year when I like big guys. They have sometimes an advantage on the football field, length, power, um, long arms, especially for offensive linemen, they can lock out, press the defender off of them, things of that nature. So this guy's 6'8", and this article says he's 380 pounds, which is about right in pre-draft. I know he had some reports from last year that he had lost about 20 pounds. He was down to about 360. Well, it sounds like he's back up to about 380. But I'm okay with that as of right now because it doesn't sound like there's any health concerns with him and things like that. But typically, Daniel Falele is a guy who plays right tackle. And today in practice, he was playing left guard. Now, I don't know how really that's going to work because typically a guy that large does not play inside because it makes it super difficult for the quarterback to see over him if he's looking to the left. But he has some position flexibility. And so if this guy can play right tackle and left guard, then he may be more agile and more athletic than we expected his size. And that could be a huge, huge bonus for a Baltimore Ravens team who will need some replacements next year. Morgan Moses is on his last year of his deal. So Daniel Falele is already on the roster. Maybe he's a natural replacement. I know you got Voorhees coming in to play left guard, so you put Voorhees at left guard, Daniel Falele at right tackle, and we can keep rolling. So I'm excited to hear that about Daniel Falele. Sometimes guys who have that size don't make it in the league because maybe they don't have good bend, they don't have good athleticism, they got bad feet. But all the way back from last year, we heard about Daniel Falele's feet. You know, he has good feet for a guy his size. So man, I'm super excited, man, to hear the news about Falele. I'm really a fan of his, even though I don't know him and don't know much about him. But I just like the underdog, and I'm glad the Ravens have him for sure. Isaiah Likely making plays at practice. That's really cool to hear. It's good to hear him getting some run, and when he getting his chances on the field, he's able to show more of what he can do. I think he's going to be a big part of the Baltimore Ravens offense. I think we're going to see a lot of two tight ends. I think going two tight ends gives Lamar Jackson some larger targets, two guys who can patrol the middle of the field and play inside, outside. Two tight ends, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, who can stretch the field. Both have good speed, both are athletic, and both have good hands. And um, so I'm glad to hear that Isaiah Likely is still showing who he's shown himself to be this far in camp. Let me see who else I heard read about. Seems like there was one more name. Ben Mason. Um, a guy who may end up replacing Patrick Ricard. This may be Patrick Ricard's last year in Baltimore. In this article, the practice report talked about Ben Mason making catches, several catches in a row. Talked about his improved athleticism. And he was in there because Patrick Ricard is out. And the way the article read is Patrick Ricard was out with injury. So if anybody knows what Patrick Ricard's injury is, I don't know what it is. I didn't even know he was injured. So if you know what it is, please drop that in the comment section. That way, if I don't, just so that if I don't know it, and so maybe somebody else doesn't know that too. So that'll be information for everybody for sure. I think that's everybody. Um, Sounds like Gus Edwards. One more thing from John Harbaugh. He talked about Gus Edwards. Sounds like Gus Edwards is working himself back to being 100%. So he's not at 100% yet. Which, which for me is a concerning sign. For me, it is only because we haven't played ball since January. And he's still working his way back. So basically, he had an entire year last year to get healthy. He's had, a pretty decent amount of time in the off season isn't healthy. So hopefully he'll get it all together, get his body back in shape and well by the time training camp hits. I expect, honestly, that the Baltimore Ravens will sign a running back from somewhere, whether it's free agent or UDFA, which is a free agent as well. Um, Especially if Gus Edwards isn't ready to go by training camp. I think we see them pick up another running back. I know Keaton Mitchell is there, and I haven't heard any buzz of him, this week. But I do expect to hear some things about him and from him next week. I expect him to put on a little bit of a show next week. Put his talent on display. So that's all I got, man. If you guys heard anything else, man, got some more news, some more updates, by all means, drop it in the comment section. Hey, yo, Boogie, man, I appreciate you looking out, man. I appreciate you keeping me on my toes, keeping me in line. I appreciate it. I really, really do. That's what the GM is about, man. We want to have football conversation. And so just because I say something doesn't mean that my word is the only word. Just because this is the GM and this is my channel, you know what I'm saying? This is our channel. You know what I'm saying? There is no GM and conversation about ball without you guys. So man, I really, really appreciate you guys, man. Jeremiah, I appreciate your participation too, man. You always come through in the comment section. I've seen several new comments from people I haven't previously recognized. Walter, I appreciate you, man. You've been hanging with us for a minute. Bentley, appreciate you, man. You've been hanging with us for a minute. Um, and anybody else, just because I didn't mention your name, don't mean I don't recognize that you've been that you in there hanging with us, man. I appreciate you guys, man. And hey, just keep checking in, man. I got some more stuff. There's gonna be some around the league stuff. You guys know how I do. I will talk about anything. So I got some debatable topics coming up, man, some conversational pieces. So if you're up for some conversation, man, please stay tuned. I'm your guy, Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.